Right, I'll explain what goes on the hacker side in this case, right? We have a lot of copy bands and copy product that CD, DVDs, equipment, cargo stolen, decors, payment, and unfortunately my son was targeted in 2012, right? I found out that some of these data industrial spies, they are actually, you could say, corrupted access the tele business, meaning that they hack bigger areas and they actually are, if we talk entertainment, some of these hackers are, there's some of them are sitting isolated. For example, the number that concerned my son is a German hacker. I traced him up and I called the number, and it turns out that he had the number on his dialing system. He didn't have to pick up the phone because it was a tape recorder, right? He was a station hacker in a one room, two screens, and he was from Germany and he has left somehow, right? He's a professional. And I did it the old way, standing outside, calling up the number, watching what's going on. So that's one of the things. And he's actually close to one of the suspects in the same street. Another thing they do, this one hacker had an external telephone which were laid in the commune office, meaning that if police checking it out, they will say, it looks right. The beep is coming from our facility, but they didn't know it was an external telephone that belongs to the hacker. That's one thing. The suspect of this case could have hired him because they also sort of data winning. They have customers preying on trendsetting, on manuscript, on pictures. I even think they also have some kind of sex abuse going on, right? That's one thing. Another thing is that if you are in contact with fake profiles on the net, that could be advertising, housing, that could be jobs, and you call them and they turn out to be scam. And all of that is a way to import some hacker activity, right? So basically, when you're looking for work or housing, that's the way they get into your telephone. And if I call the ministry, I get also a contact which is a scammer. It could also be a stationary hacker. Another thing I noticed, and that's a money card, and that's also hackers, is leasing of cars and stolen cars that always is in the area. Stofa, TDC, Atea has been all over the place, right? They even went so far, I think, that they had hired a crane to fix the receiver. That meaning that if there is some operation going around with your receiver antenna in the area, be cautious, right? Because maybe it's not a legal business. You know, they were in Ribe, they were putting up antenna in the night, right? Having people up in a high house on a crane in the night, meaning there were no security for the workers at all. If somebody falls down, you couldn't find them. So basically, a lot of things goes on. If they hack a bigger area, they do it, you know, with a crane, with a car, external. And I also noticed another thing, that this telephone, right, I got it from a shop. But I was staying at a house where some of the people in the house had the same phone, right? So I took some pictures and somehow they disappeared on the telephone. And when I tried to do the same thing as my photograph sister would do, trying to get them back from the internet, the thing is that the footprints of that operation was the same as my sister's, meaning this telephone could have been in hands of my sister or being exchanged a couple of times, right? So basically, when you have a phone and you have it in a house that you're not secure, that the telephone was exchanged by one from the house, number one. It might be exchanged back again after the picture disappeared. So the person took the picture, gave you his phone, and when you couldn't find the picture, he puts the phone back without the pictures. Right? That's another thing. Secondary, I thought I had different equipment, different telephone. I also found out that some of the telephone are recircling telephone, meaning that the telephone belongs to somebody else, but it's been cleaned. But some vicious hackers, or just by mistake, that you get a telephone that's a problem because it's already hacked or already spyware in it, right? That could be from your computers, that could be from a copy market, something like that, right? Now, another thing is that I was looking at apps, antivirus apps, anti-hacker apps, and I see that all of the apps in there are hackers. I was doing some picture reconstruction, and when I looked at all the kind of filters, those apps were hacked, right? So you have like a stack of things. You have profile that's fake. You have telephone calls that's been scammed. You have apps that's been scammed, and you even have an exchange of equipment, right?